Right, so this is me, Veljko Subara, right? So now we have a little fishing talk, right? As you know, my hobby, as I love fishing as a sport, right? Fishing is my passion. So therefore, out of my passion for fishing, as 100% Serbian, not Macedonian, not American, not Italian, not Spanish, not German, or Jewish, or French, or Canadian, or none of these things. As 100% Serbian, I deliver these fishing tactics, right? As it looks like this. So for the bigger fish, I use this kind of rod, right? This is one of the cheapest rod you can get. It was about $25. Um, I mean, the reel is good, it's solid, it's awesome actually. This Shimano reel. Sedona is used size 400 for this kind of rod, right? As you see, this is what is it? 25, yeah, 25-pound rod. As I was taking some fish. I love it. So, but the main thing about this is how I set the hooks on. So, as this time I would let's say use, as you see the weights on the bottom, right? So, I'll look this up. So as I have one hook, right down below. So the hook is here. Line. This is on the bottom of the weights. On the top of the weights, I have another hook that starts from here, on a line, right? But now the thing that I added by myself, just by common sense, because when you cast your rod, fishing on the bottom, your rod is going to look something like this. As I tighten it, right? There's the weights right there. So let's mimic that this is, let's say, right? You cast this. So now what happens, I deliver something what's called the third hook. This is a really short hook that oscillates. So it's not on the top, it's not on the bottom, but it's right there where fish can see it. So what I do, I put, one of my favorite baits is a red worm. So I put, let's say, 2, 3 of them on this, and it looks like almost like an octopus, right? That is very interesting to fish. Um, so, right? So as this is going to be first noticed by any fish, there is either on the top or the bottom, it doesn't matter. So, right? So I have 2 hooks on the bottom, so this one is main, just so you notice. So if this hook, by the way, I caught a lot of fish, some huge fish on this tiny little neck. You see, it's very, I'll put my finger next to it. So, it's very short, right? So, and that is for the reason, so it's always up off the bottom so the fish can see. So what happens, the fish approach this, right? Either it's gonna go for it, but if it's any weird, right? Some fish requires, for the bait to look natural. This doesn't look natural, like they just like, sitting up in a, like, not even on the bottom or on top, it just, but if this is kind of weird, the ones on the bottom, they look very red. So, as this is a, let's say, an attractor, right? I've used these to attract the fish also, so as to catch the fish with this. Since I started using this, and this was about 20, almost 20 years ago, since I delivered this. Since I invented this, like I never saw anybody fishing this way, right? Ever in my life, anywhere I go, I never saw anybody. So I want to share this with you, for anybody who's starting fishing, who wants to catch more fish. So what do you use this for, right? Wonder. So what do you use this for to catch? So anything from small fish, let's say golden shiner, perch, white perch. Um, you know, really the line is too thick for trout, but some trout will take something like this too, because this is fluorocarbon line, so it's kind of virtually invisible. You know. Anyway, this line is 25 pounds. I use the same type of line, right? But it's for trout, but it's 8 pounds. So not to use 4 pounds or 6 pounds, where your line is going to break off and you're going to lose the fish. I use invisible 8 pounds. So with the tension that I lose, I get, extra couple of pounds. Really, I never lose the fish. My line never breaks. So, this will be a smaller fish that I use this for. Let's say this setup, where it goes down in the bottom, right? So later on, I'll see you with the video how I do this live, how I'm fishing, how I'm catching things, right? There is a very similar setup that I use for trout. I was going to show you. So, also besides the small fish that you can catch, with this, I was catching some giant catfish just with these hooks. This is size 6 hook. So it's Gamakatsu, the sharpest hook you can find. I would never really play with the quality of hooks because they can cost you a catch right there. Right? If you try to go cheaper or this, then you might as well don't go fishing. So Gamakatsu hook, you want your hook to be the best, the sharpest it can be. So this is what I use literally for my setup. The way I set this up, solely on a common sense and how I see fishing, right? All by myself. So I use this, also to catch like some giant catfish or carps. I was catching bass with this. Like I would go like let's say on a reservoir, or a lake, and I would cast this. The way I set this up, so it has to be a lot of berms, so they like wiggle around, right? So they kind of wiggle around, and that really attracts the fish and makes the fish very interested into the bait. This is also important, right? Trout, if you go for trout, you want to put one worm so it looks more natural, right? Because she's not going to go for the bait that it has 2 worms on one hook. It just doesn't look right to her, right? But this other kind of fish, the more you put on and the more they look like that, the better. So yeah, I would catch some bass with this. Like I would go like before end of the night, right? Cast this and I would catch like giant bass, like a smallmouth, largemouth. Doesn't matter. They will hit these, but towards the end of the season, right? When the water starts getting colder and they feel like they want to eat, because when it gets too cold, this kills their appetite. So this is when they're gonna hit on a worm too. Bass, yes, bass. I use, when I go for bass, I use the live bait. I use shiner, right? But this works just fine towards the end of the season or the very early beginning of the season, when he's going to take anything because he's hungry, or he's going to feed, he's going to eat anything because he's going to come to his diet. His diet is going to come. His urge to eat is going to come to stop because of too cold of the water. Right? So this is what I do. This is how I tie. Also, I'm going to show you in the next video how I tie hooks. I don't really tie them next to the. I tie them around the neck. So, any people in this video that you hear in the background, since this is a YouTube video, they have nothing to do with this, how I tie hooks or how I fish or whatever I do. So this is my video, right? As I'm the guy who's fishing, just the way I fish, with all of my 100% Serbian tactics delivered by me, 100% Serbian.